this is like maybe the bigger issue is that we shouldn't be looking at characters as their gender, but rather just what does this character sound like. The next one is looking for advice on doing voices, I assume as a DM. Specifically, they say, how do I do female voices as a male? I'm the embodiment of a 7-int barbarian, so please explain as simple as possible. So before we get to the comments, even though you can already see the top one, the first answer is you never have to do a voice. So that's like the first piece of advice. Obviously, the next one is generally women's voices are higher, so just raise your, like, pitch? Is that the right word for that? A little bit. And even then, like, you don't have to do it, like, a whole lot. Like, even if you have, like, a really deep voice. Like, you don't have to, like, you don't have to go all the way up here to be a woman. Obviously, because I am, and I don't talk up here. So, like, I think people will, like, try to, like, blow it out of proportion further than they have to make it, like, really obvious. And, I think you can, like, if you don't feel comfortable making that, like, really high voice, then just don't, and just, like, be like, this is a lady, and then talk. There are different ways that work. Yeah, so, I mean, there are, like, other things and stuff, too. Like I said, like, you don't actually have to make, a voice, or you can raise it a little bit. You can make it, like, a softer speech instead of, like, a harsher speech. It's gonna be, like, all, like, super stereotyped stuff, too, right? So, like, softer voice, quieter voice. You can use, like, a different word choice even can make something seem more female than male. Manners and actions also paint. Yeah. Storytelling is a big scale. Yeah, for sure. So let's see what other people say. So the first one says, women can have deep voices. A problem I usually see is men trying to do women's voices by going high pitch. You can try to go higher, but honestly, it's usually about intonation and softness. Also, it really depends on the character more than just a general voice. I agree. Not every woman sounds the same. And yeah, not every woman sounds the same, just like not every man sounds the same. Like, if you listen to me and my partner talk, like, I don't think either of us really sound like a stereotypical man and woman. Like, he has a pretty high voice, and like I don't have, like, a very low voice, but I certainly don't have a particularly high voice, unless I get really excited, and then it gets a lot higher. So I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I've seen this question like a million times. What's interesting is I never see it the other way around. I never see women asking, how do I do a man's voice? Which is, I don't know why that is. Maybe there's just, like, not as many women, like, posting on Reddit, or maybe they just feel more comfortable going, like, with a lower, gruffer voice, than men feel comfortable going with, like, a higher, softer voice. So OP says back to the, oh wait, I actually, oh yeah, I did, okay. So OP says, yeah, but my voice sounds either like SpongeBob or Krabs, and I can't seem to adjust. Also, what's intonation? So they respond back and say, first off, the rise and fall of voice and speaking, that's the definition of intonation. Secondly, you just need to find the most feminine voice you can do. It's really up to you and what you need. Also try to characterize the voices instead of making them outright high-pitched. That's honestly all I have. All the voices I can do I found by accident. That's totally fair. If you guys watch the campaign, like, I do change my voice, but that's not the only thing I do to, like, show that I am, like, doing an NPC's voice versus the DM's voice. I also, like, change the way I, like, sit, and like, I don't know, like, volume and stuff changes, word choice changes, like, whether you talk, like, really fast or really slow can change things. Yeah, okay, let's go into like the next person thing. Yeah, so this person says the first thing I said, which was you just don't have to describe the NPC's voice, then say whatever you're going to say with the right speed and volume, and of course word choice. I'm female and I have minimal vocal range. When I describe any character's voice, I'm setting my players to hear those words in that voice, even though I can't actually create it. Just like describing their appearances creates a mental image, adding the vocal elements helps them fill out the movie in their head. Example, the young Stablehand's voice cracks and warbles with the effects of puberty when he answers you, "Sorry, sir, they left first thing this morning. Don't think they will be back this way for at least a month." Another example, the brothel matron looks at you through her wine glass and speaks with a sultry low voice. "Ah, returned with a little coin, I see. Welcome." I didn't make those voices like into anything, but you could tell that they're two different people. Another example, the dwarf tavern owner is shouting toward the kitchen door in Dwarvish and cussing a lot. As he turns to the party, he softens to a more comfortable tone. "Evening, sorry about that. My nephew is an idiot, but he's not a cook." What? What does that mean? I heard Red get home. So then somebody else responds to this, saying this is probably the best way to start, along with describe how the person sounds, and then just use your normal voice and say the words the NPC says. You can work up to a more effeminate, womanly voice later, along with describing how they sound instead of trying to sound like them. Also pick your words differently, which is what I said. For instance, a man will tend to tell someone to do something, especially a man in power, but a woman in power will tend to ask someone to do something. I just had this issue recently. Sorry for the tangent. His nephew is not the cook, so the food seems to be okay. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's continue reading this. A woman that isn't in power would probably not even ask directly, but would ask a leading question in hopes that the person being asked will figure out what she wants and do it. So stereotypically, this person is like actually like right on it. Obviously it's stereotypical, and like not every man and not every woman is like this, and also not everybody is a man or a woman. If you really do want to sound like a woman, the next thing after changing your choice of words is about how you emphasize words in your sentence. Men make some words a tiny bit louder to emphasize them. Women say the words they want to emphasize in a slightly higher pitch. I disagree whole fucking heartedly. That is definitely not how I talk, so I guess I talk like a dude. Anyways, only after you get all of the above should you bother trying to raise your overall pitch. I mean, I don't know that that's true. I think it's fine to, like, just go for a pitch change, too, because whatever. This person's like, if you want to do everything perfectly stereotypical, this is how you do it, and that's fine. But I don't think that... This is, like, maybe the bigger issue, is that we shouldn't be looking at characters as their gender, but rather just what does this character sound like. This person says, don't try so hard. I just go for a softer tone more than I do a higher pitch. I totally agree.
Worst I've ever heard of. But you have heard of me.
Why the hype? Because you're here? This one's kind of funny. This is a very Reddit answer. Squeeze balls till voice is high. Don't overdo it. Focus on tone and choice of words more than voice pitch. These comments are confusing me. Yeah. I feel like maybe it was going to be really hard to explain to this person how to do it anyways, because they said in their original post that they're like a 7-int barbarian. I'm curious how this person tries to explain it better. How so? I'm just saying try to have a woman way of speak. A woman way of speak without trying to act the sound of the voice itself. Only the way of speaking. You don't want to be a parody. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a parody. I think it depends what kind of, like, whatchamacall. Bear Boo, hi! How's it going? Okay, so think more, what would my character say rather than how my character would sound? Just don't do voices. See, okay, so I really hate, like, all the people who are only coming in saying don't do voices, especially if this person does voices for all of the other NPCs. It would be weird to not try to do a voice for this one. Not that it's bad advice, because it's the same advice I gave at the top, but thanks for the shout out, Red. You had once a grumpy old mage and the players loved him so much. See, I just don't do voices. I don't know. How's your day been going though, Bear? Okay, so anyways, to finish this one off, just don't do voices. Chances are you'll come across as nails on chalkboard, shrill, or someone undergoing puberty with about 5 voice cracks per sentence. Now, saying that is just do vocal warm-ups and stuff. I think this is this person's problem, because they came back to this one. All of my characters talk like idiots. Barbarian, dumbass. Wizard with a 20 int, still a dumbass. It's like, well, like, maybe that's part of your problem too. Oh, this one might be good. I can't remember if it was a podcast on voice acting or what, but a coach for a voice actor said more than a few of the people who've reached out to him are DMs. If anybody knows a specific YouTube video or an app, I'd be interested to edit another group that was taking some of those classes were people transitioning. Yeah, that's like a really good, like, I mean, if you're like super serious on learning to do voices and stuff, like absolutely just reach out to a professional. There are like a lot of YouTube videos on training your voice and stuff like that. So like if you're really interested in that, there are ways to like find that help too. And random people on Reddit is maybe not the best, like depending on how seriously you want to take this. However, like the overwhelming idea that you don't actually have to change your voice I think is great advice. You just do them the same as male voices. Not all female voices are higher pitched than male voices. Like I've said, avoid going really high pitched. I don't agree with that. I think you can totally do a falsetto, because I'll do the same thing. So a falsetto, I don't know a whole lot about this, but I've watched like a fair amount of YouTube videos on singing. And so the difference between chest voice, mixed voice, and head voice, for a man, head voice is called falsetto because it sounds so different from chest voice. Whereas for a woman is generally like it sounds more stuck together. I don't know that I believe in falsetto after like learning some stuff. I think falsetto is just a man's head voice. But that being said, like my regular register, as most people's are, is somewhere between chest voice and head voice. So if I want to do higher pitch, I'm gonna go to head. Or whatever. Is head? I think it's called head. Say head one more time. I don't think like using that voice is a bad idea. I just wouldn't do that for every female character because, like we've seen a million times, not all female voices are high. Okay, so I do want to like continue off of this like falsetto idea. So OP says it's not exactly female voices, but just that my voice is a bit deeper than I'd like, and I don't think I've heard any female that sounds like me or with a deeper voice in my life. So somebody else came in saying trans women are women. Some of us have deeper voices even after training. It's not a hard and fast rule or anything, but women tend to speak with a rhythm or cadence with tone shifting up and down, while men generally have a habit of defaulting to a monotone, at least here in America. Ooh, that's a really good point too. I hadn't really thought of that because we're very used to the like gender differences in voices from like the place that we're in. And I never really thought about if there are like big differences, like if you go somewhere else, what the like stereotypical man or woman like speaks like. Ooh, I like this. There's a list. We love lists. What I figured out with my friend group is 1, first throw away the shits you have left to give. Oh, throw away the shits you have left to give. This is the first, I don't know why you gotta word it like that. Basically he's saying like, don't worry about being dumb is what this is like. Don't worry about sounding funny. Like if your friends are going to laugh at you, like laugh with them. And like, it's not like a bad thing. That's what that first one's going for. You could have worded it better, I think. 2 comes more from the back of the throat, I believe. Not quite. 3, practice by whispering loud. This makes your voice a bit lower, more female-like. Practice by whispering loud? Oh, he means like talking like breathily instead of like... Okay. So, okay. So the way that this works, like, again, I don't know a whole lot about the way that voices work, but like a breathy voice has like your vocal cords coming together less, and there's more like air escaping. So that is actually something that a bunch of people have mentioned, is like speaking softer, speaking more breathily becomes more like feminine. My friend, so I used to, when we'd have to read textbooks out loud to each other in school, I would always put on this like super breathy voice, and my friends always called it my like phone sex voice. That's probably a voice that I could actually like bring in as an NPC's voice, and if I ever do it, I know what NPC it'll be for. I really appreciate that this person went on to say, if your throat hurts, stop. Because you can do actual damage to your voice by pushing it. And that's actually why I think the advice for streamers to do vocal exercises before they stream is really good. I still don't do it, but I think it's really good advice. Especially if you're going to be going for longer than normal. So like I regularly stream for like 3 to 5 hours. Doing like I did one 12-hour stream, and it definitely like my voice was kind of fucked by the end. And I've seen like other streamers go through this where like they lose their voice after streaming for too long, and it's just it is from like the strain on your vocal cords. And so just like singers and stuff who push their voices to the limits, doing vocal exercises like help take care of the vocal cords. And you have to know to take a break when you have to take a break. That's like super important, because if you keep pushing through pain, just like with like other things, like it'll fuck you, right? Anyways, I don't even know that I only half read this. My friends can do a deep voice when I cannot, so I think it has something to do with your vocal cords. Oh, obviously, like there's a certain point where like your voice just isn't gonna go anywhere else. But that doesn't mean that like your natural range can't be pushed. Pain is an important signal. This is fair. I find this one very difficult because I'm always worried that I'm going to like offend somebody with my accent. Because I don't think I'm terrible at accents, but I don't want to be a dingus either. So this person says, switch up your accent, experiment with accents far from your usual one, and it might just swing the dial from masculine to feminine. Depends on person to person and voice, though. Read a paragraph out loud in your own voice, then higher pitch, then maybe American style, Californian. What is just American then? Anyways, American style, Californian, English, Scottish, Germanic English. Isn't that just German? Like just a German accent? French accented Canadian? I'd like to hear everybody do a Canadian accent. South Africans, or yeah, I'm not gonna try to say that. Try it out until something fits. That's fair. Yeah, that makes sense that doing different accents might just push your voice to something more feminine or more masculine. I don't know that that's like always the case, but it's a interesting thing to play around with if you're comfortable playing around with accents. I don't know that this is true. It is unnecessary, but some people like to do it. And this person obviously likes to do voices, so they want advice on how to do voices. I know that part of my advice was that too, but like, my advice was, you don't have to, but if you're going to, here are some ways to do it. This one is interesting because I happened to see this. Apparently just be me, or it might just be me, because whenever I get called by call centers or call support, I always get called ma'am. But I can't be bothered to correct them, but I can say it most often happens when I'm talking a little quieter that that my voice seems to come out higher, so maybe try that. Or play a female dwarf, which puts you right in the middle, and could pass it off as having a gruffer female voice. Why can only female dwarves have gruff voices? If your female dwarves are the only females who can have gruffer voices, then I expect all of your male elves to have more feminine voices, because otherwise you're just being an ass. But you shouldn't do either one of those necessarily. You should just let your characters have the voices they're gonna have. All I do is spit facts. That's actually not true at all. Oh, okay, so this is gonna be the last one, I think, just because it's a long one, but I feel like the long ones are the ones that we should read, because they might actually add something to the conversation. Okay, let's read this long boy. Maybe don't think you have to sound like a woman. That won't be possible in 99% of the time for all men here and vice versa. What? Are you saying 99% of the time men can't sound like women? Because I think that is purely incorrect. But I'm not really sure if that's what that's supposed to mean. Anyways, but think more about what the figure is about. You're trying to represent. Oh my god, why am I having an issue here? But think more about what the figure is about you are trying to represent. I'm having trouble here. Okay, is very charismatic, but also shadowy noble. I understand what they're trying to say. Speak very deliberately and make it like every word was said for a reason. I don't think every person talks like that, so I don't think that's great advice. Sprinkle in some metaphors, small hints and foretellings that might mean something to a listener that knows more, but might be overheard by someone who doesn't, and vice versa. Do a very direct talk for a rather blunt, uneducated person. Oh, okay, I got confused again. I'm crisising a little. Ask a question from time to time what the characters mean when they use term X to represent the missing knowledge, or let her be stuck in a specific mindset that is hard to overcome. Druids are evil and hunt little children in the woods. Okay. I agree with this advice. Now that I understand what's being said here, they were giving like examples of things that those things are. But yeah, so it's back to the like word choice and like word choice and knowing like what your character knows and their like beliefs and stuff, and letting that bleed through like what you say rather than how you say it. What I mean by all this, as soon as you create an illusion on one layer of presentation, the players are already building the world up in their head. It's the same as with magic in our world. If you show a card trick that involves switching up a card with one in your sleeve, don't try to make this perfect and let it seem to be magic due to you being the swiftest card switcher in the world. Chances are high you won't get to this point. Instead, show the audience something that grabs their attention, distracts them. They build up this fantasy in their head and feel afterwards like they have witnessed magic, even though they know better. Offer them a figure with a distinct personality, and they will more than gladly adjust the voice you do for this person in their heads. Yeah, I agree. That's been the advice that I like the best. Okay, this is actually the last one. This is the second one that's like, squeeze your balls, punch yourself in the nuts. Anyways, assuming you're the DM, the way I see it, you have two simple options. 7 int barbarian man. 1, whisper loudly. This makes your voice sound soft, which, as stereotypical as it reads, makes your voice sound more like a female's without trying to force a higher tone. Or 2, don't change the way you speak, just make it clear which NPC is talking to the player character. Example, a lady wearing gold armor and a red cape bumps into you. She turns to you and says, annoyed, hey, watch where you're going. Give the player a chance to respond. The man in a long robe, whose loose sleeves she was walking with, chimes in, actually, Priscilla, you were the one not paying attention while we were chatting. He turns to you, sorry about that. Please don't mind us. The lady, whom you know as Priscilla, responds, yeah, my bad, I've got a bit of a short fuse. Give another chance. Okay, I don't really care about like the like giving like time in between, but because you were saying he says, she says, then you know who's talking and you don't have to change your voice. If you want them to picture a specific voice, like people said before, you can describe that voice. This person has a breathy voice. This person is a like loud and gruff voice. Speaks Elvish and Halfling. Yeah, then I think it makes like a whole lot of sense that you can use like other languages as your magical language. Let's move on to another one. We've been on this one for a while because, I don't know, it caught me for some reason. Hey, thanks for checking out Chickadee D&D. If you liked what you saw, click all the buttons down below. Subscribe, like, comment, you know the drill. Also, it'd be really cool if you came and checked us out live at Chickadee93 on Twitch, where you get to participate in the conversation or watch us play D&D on campaign days. Thank you again so much. See you next time. Bye.